This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, a southern town is grieving after the death of 5 teenagers in a single vehicle crash in Timaru. A light dusting of snow across the south means fun for some and work for others. And sheepdog trials near Gore attract competitors from across the South Island. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi o te ahi nei, kia ora, I'm Simon Anderson. Police have released the names of the 5 teenagers involved in a car crash near Timaru over the weekend. Emergency services were called to Washdyke at around 7:30 on Saturday night, where they found a car split in half following its high-speed impact with a power pole.
Police say alcohol, speed, an overloaded car and unrestrained passengers were the perfect recipe for a weekend's fatal car crash near Timaru.
We found that 5 young men had died in the crash. The vehicle involved was a Nissan Bluebird sedan, and it had apparently hit a power pole with such force that it broke in half, spreading debris down the road.
The 5 teenage men died at the scene after the car they were in crashed about 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. Police releasing their names this morning. They were Nico Hill, Javani Drummond, Andrew Goodger, Jack Wallace and Joseph McCarthy. All were aged 15 or 16.
My thoughts and prayers go to the family of those young men. They woke up today to a nightmare that won't go away.
At least one call had been made to police about boy racing in the area shortly before the high-speed fatal collision. The 19-year-old driver survived and was taken to Timaru Hospital with serious injuries.
It's very, very difficult at the moment to say what the cause of the crash was, but it is pretty clear that there are a number of contributing factors. Obviously speed. It appears that alcohol may have been involved, and there were 6 people in the vehicle. There's only 5, lots of seatbelts.
Inspector Gaskin says the tragedy could have been avoided if they'd followed the simple and obvious safety guidelines.
So it's a pretty simple message, really. Cars are not toys. They're a great asset when they're used properly, but when they're not used properly, they're extremely dangerous. And if you do use a car, please don't speed. Please don't drink and drive. And for goodness sake, put your seatbelt on.
The driver was the sole survivor of the crash and was well enough to post a message on social media Sunday afternoon apologising for the crash. Grieving relatives visited the crash scene yesterday. One father was heard saying, "Why? What a waste." The police serious crash unit's investigation is ongoing, and they say it could take weeks until they finish the scene examination. In Timaru, the South Today.
A central Dunedin car park is about to close, taking 125 car parks with it. Ngāi Tahu Property is taking ownership of the Dunedin City Council-owned Dowling Street car park in mid-August. The site is to be leased to the Accident Compensation Commission for 20 years. The car park will be shut and ticket dispensers removed so investigatory work can proceed before the construction of new offices to house up to 650 ACC staff. The council says it does not have specific plans to replace the lost car parks. Weather forecasters' predictions of snow down to 200 metres on Sunday night proved accurate for Dunedin. The suburb of Halfway Bush received quite a dusting, though none settled at sea level.
Snow started falling in Queenstown on Sunday night, and by the time Dunedin residents woke up on Monday morning, there was reasonably thick snow on cars and footpaths in the upper suburbs of the city. Halfway Bush resident Jenny Ferris makes a point of clearing her driveway of snow, having learned the hard way in previous years that snow can turn into hard ice if it gets the chance to refreeze.
To get my car out, because what happens, if it freezes tonight, the snow will turn to ice. and there's no way I can get down. That corner is the worst corner.
The snowfall is the heaviest Dunedin has seen so far this year, but Ferris says it seems to be noticeably less than what she remembers from earlier years.
It's not as bad now as what it was 20 years ago or something, so it is changing, but you get used to it.
Further up on 3 Mile Hill, Errol Hanna and his partner Michelle and 4-year-old son Harley were enjoying the snow, having driven up the hill especially to make a snowman.
I'm a snow fanatic, I love it. I just love the way itself, it just brings the happiness out in people.
Snow fell much more heavily in Canterbury, with some Christchurch locals travelling up to the Port Hills to experience the cold white stuff close at hand. Several motorists were reported stranded around Arthur's Pass, having to be taken in by locals. Across the regions, the south today.
Christchurch-based demolition company Ceres is on track with the ongoing demolition of the former Cadbury factory. The company is now more than halfway through removing the massive brick and concrete buildings, with several weeks before the task is complete. But 1,500 truckloads of demolition waste have already been cleared from the new Dunedin Hospital site so far. Hazardous materials such as asbestos and lead paint have been carefully taken out by specialist personnel and then disposed of appropriately by a certified landfill operator. Work on demolishing the 2 massive silos is set to begin this coming weekend. Once cleared, the site will become home to Dunedin's new hospital at a projected cost of almost $1.5 billion. Sheepdogs and their shepherds from across the South Island got a chance to show off their skills at Waimumu over the weekend. The 3-day Southern Indoor Charity Dog Trial is held each year as a fundraiser for Hospice Southland.
It may have not looked busy when we turned up with our cameras on Sunday, but this year's Southern Indoor Charity Dog Trials attracted over 100 entries from as far away as Blenheim. The challenge was for a shepherd and their dog to guide 3 ewe hoggets over a course and into a sheep pen. Organiser Mike Joyce says the event was going well, with almost 140 competitors to be judged on their skills over 3 days.
It's all going good. We're going to get to about run number 110 tonight. We'll have about 15 runs tomorrow and we'll move into the final 7 in the afternoon after a barbecue lunch.
Now in its 6th year, the challenge is held indoors at the Southern Field Days Waimumu site near Gore, using 3 hoggets at a time taken from a flock already used to be worked by dogs. The trials raise funds for Hospice Southland, with manager Suzanne Prentice very pleased with the fundraiser.
We're so appreciative of being here. If you haven't been, make sure you come next year. You'll thoroughly enjoy it.
The event was set to finish this afternoon, with 7 finalists vying to win top spot. In Waimumu, the South today.
Still to come on the South today, the future of Dunedin's Sports Hall of Fame is looking a bit brighter, and we pay a visit to one of Christchurch's most wild attractions. Ka kite a koenei.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Be sure to tune in to Football Chat every week, where we chat about local football fixtures, results and everything else that's happening in the local game.
No minor, welcome back. A man has been arrested after police found methamphetamine and a makeshift axe in his car. Senior Sergeant Craig Dennison of Dunedin Police says officers found a 33-year-old man in a VW Golf with blacked out number plates. Police say the car was parked in an alleyway off Kitchener Street in Dunedin's Wharf area at 2:25 a.m. today. They say the methamphetamine totalled 5 grams. Dunedin's Sports Hall of Fame has no immediate plans to close. On the contrary, a bold vision for its future is starting to take shape. The hall has resided in the Dunedin railway station since 1999, but exhibits there are static, and as doubts have grown about the suitability of the location, alternative venues are being considered. Sports Hall of Fame Chairman Stuart McLaughlin says it is not facing imminent closure and potentially has an exciting future. The sports-focused Edgar Centre has been suggested as a more modern location. The Dunedin City Council has been waiting for more information about the Hall of Fame before it weighs up funding options. An update is expected to come before councillors in the coming months. Christchurch's Willowbank Wildlife Reserve is well known for its exotic capybara and lemurs from overseas, plus a large range of New Zealand native species. The Christchurch Star spoke with one of the keepers at the famous Canterbury Zoo.
A typical day for a zookeeper at Willowbank is we start at 8 in the morning, and usually we check everything's okay from the night before. And it can be pretty cold and wet at 8 o'clock in the morning here, so if you get a -5-degree frost and then some rain, it's not much fun, but we have to come in every day no matter what happens. I look after the native animals except for the kiwis, and so I've got sort of more than 100 animals to check and lots of enclosures to look at. Probably my favourite animal that I look after every day is the group of kia that we have here at Willowbank. We're really lucky, we've got a big sort of social group, and they're really interactive, and they a well-adjusted group that kind of like playing with each other and are a bit crazy, so that's great fun. I also love the takahe that we have, so they're like dinosaurs, they're really interesting to work with, and it's an amazing program to be involved with because there's so few of them, so being able to breed and release them is pretty unique. The kia at Willowbank are kind of a large family group, pretty interactive as well for the public, and so they're a great ambassador for their species, so people really enjoy seeing kia and interacting with them and learning about them. Most people who come in will lose something if they're not careful. They like pom-poms from hats, and they like to steal bits and pieces like the maps of the park and things. So we have lots of signs saying make sure you look after your stuff when you come in. We have had people lose credit cards and cash and things like that occasionally. and they can be tricky to get back, but we do our best. Lots of building, lots of new enclosures have been put up and lots of things have improved and new babies have come and things have left, so it's like a constantly moving feast, Willowbank. There's always something new here, which is probably why people like to kind of keep coming back and checking it out. There's always something different to have a look at.
After the break on the south today, a new University of Otago study shows sun exposure while rowing puts paddlers at an undue risk of sunburn. However, you'll find there's little chance of that in this week's weather forecast coming soon. Ha koko ake nei.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Hoki mai anō. A new University of Otago study is urging New Zealand schools to provide better rowing uniforms with improved sun protection for pupils competing at regattas. University Masters student Linda Buxton found young rowers at Lake Ruataniwha could be exposed to dangerous levels of solar radiation while on the water. She says data from one race showed 67% of athletes exceeded the daily recommended ultraviolet radiation dose. Buxton says the exposure over just a quarter of a race is high enough to cause sunburn in people with fair skin. She says skin cancer in New Zealand's most common cancer, and about 90% of cases are caused by overexposure to ultraviolet radiation. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the south today. A southern town is grieving after the death of 5 teenagers in a single vehicle crash in Timaru over the weekend. A light dusting of snow across the south means fun for some and work for others during a late winter polar blast. And sheepdog trials near Gora attract competitors from across the South Island to bark up a storm. now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. We welcome editor Barry Stewart. Kia ora, Barry.
Hello, Simons. Some good news for St John's. St John, they're getting an extra ambulance to cover Mosgiel, Dunedin and South Otago, and they're also getting 6 new ambulance officers. So that's all as a result of announcement made in the budget, in the last budget by the government. So that organisation has been under some pressure in recent times, so that hopefully be a way for them to get ahead of the game. So good news there. We, of course, will have more on that tragic accident in Timaru over the weekend, horrific as it was. And we also have a story about high workloads in ACC causing staff or relieving staff in Dunedin at breaking points. So concerns there. The number of teens being locked up by police has plummeted, according to new figures released. Well, I'm not sure when they were released, but pretty recently anyway. And also we have in our travel section, we take a cycle journey down the West Coast Wilderness Trail. You ever done that?
No, I haven't.
No, neither have I. But I've been to the West Coast. But that sounds like an excellent challenge in summer. And we also wrap up Aaron Smith's 100th Test match at the weekend against the Wallabies, and he's relieved that life can get back to some sort of normality. He was under a lot of pressure in the build-up to that match, so he's just pleased he will now be able to just focus on what he does best, and that's being the best halfback in the world.
Does it very well, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Thanks, Barry.
Indeed.
And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, which takes on a rather gothic look in central Dunedin as more dark cloud arrives. Looking at the situation, some westerly airflow brings cloud and showers to western and southern coasts tomorrow and Wednesday. Then a series of cold fronts should arrive from Thursday, with changeable weather for the rest of the week. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, Westport and Greymouth are both wet on 12 degrees, with Westport experiencing the heavier showers. No clouds to be seen in the northeast, though Nelson and Blenheim both sunny on 14 degrees. And down to Canterbury, where it's mostly sunny. That is, it's sunny in Kaikoura on 11 degrees, just some scattered cloud further down the coast, Christchurch and Ashburton both on 13 degrees. To the southern towns, westerlies brush the region, bringing rain to Lumsden and Gore later on, both on 12 degrees. And while the winds may be stronger in the Catlins and Balclutha, you manage to stay dry in spite of any clouds, both on 11 degrees. Moving across to the Central Lakes area, westerlies buffet this region too. Rain reaches Te Anau on 11 degrees, but everywhere else is otherwise fine. Queenstown and Wanaka on 9, Alexandra on 10 degrees. To the northern towns, westerlies here as well, but otherwise fine. 9 degrees inland for Twizel and Omarama. And the winds even lighter on the coast, Timaru and Oamaru both on 12 degrees. In Dunedin, becoming fine tonight with an overnight low of 5 degrees. Sounds quite warm, to be honest. Fine tomorrow too, with sunny periods and fresh, cool westerly winds. A few showers developing towards the evening. A high of 12 and a low of 8. And it's fine and sunny on Wednesday with winds turning northerly. A high of 15 and a low of 9. And in Invercargill, becoming fine here too. An overnight low of 6 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with some light rain developing during the afternoon, while fresh westerly winds become milder, a high of 11 and a low of 9. And it's cloudy with showers on Wednesday with fresh gusty northwesterlies pushing through, a high of 13 and a low of 9 degrees. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kita anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.